It's Thursday, the 5th of May, 2022. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Amyler.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's jump into it. Story number 1, the country's 5th largest bank, ANZ, has announced a $3.1 billion half-year profit. If you just say $3.1 billion on its own, it sounds good, but how does that kind of stack up in the banking world?
Well, not that well. In fact, it was a 3% drop in cash profit for the 6 months to the end of March and underwhelmed many investors. The big question mark over ANZ is how it goes in the very profitable home lending business. It's very much lagged Commonwealth Bank, National Australia Bank in Westpac, and yesterday boss Shane Elliott said it was likely to underperform until later this year. Now, another big issue for ANZ is its cost base. It's really struggled to grab hold of that, and yesterday it dropped its long-term goal of cutting $8 billion.
Sean, story number 2, we talked a lot yesterday, obviously, about interest rates rising. And now that the Reserve Bank has opened the way to more interest rate rises, the question for pretty much all of us is, how many more?
Lots? Can I get away with that? No, okay, I won't.
Yeah, that's pretty broad. That's broad.
All the major bank economists expect the cash rate will be above 1% by November and possibly 1.5% by the end of the year. Now, if each 25 basis point increase pushes repayments on a $500,000 loan up by about $65, it means by the end of the year, people with a $500,000 home loan could be paying about $360 more a month. On a $1 million home loan, that's more than $700 a month extra by the end of the year. Bond markets have a pretty good track record of picking interest rate rises. They reckon there'll be even more rate rises. Certainly overseas, plenty of places are lifting interest rates, including the US Fed overnight.
Okay, story number 3, Sean. We are still underway, obviously, with the election campaign. And one of my favourite things to do during the election campaign is to ask you to give a summary of everything that happened yesterday and then just set you a random time limit for it. So today you have 45 seconds. Go.
Okay. Basically, it was about the would-be treasurers. Yesterday, Josh Frydenberg and Shadow Treasurer Jim Chalmers took centre stage for an economic debate. It was sparky, but not really overly controversial. At the end, Frydenberg actually said the two got along pretty well with each other. Anyway, Frydenberg said Labor was acting as if the last 2 years hadn't happened. Chalmers said the government didn't care about what its decisions meant for ordinary working people. Frydenberg said Labor would tax people more. Chalmers said they wouldn't. Both agreed that Medicare, aged care and the NDIS will get more expensive. Both want to cut energy costs, etc., etc. How'd I go?
You did it with 2 seconds to spare. You have a surplus.
Excellent.
To use a budget term.
Let's use it in the next story.
All right. The next story is an interesting one because we actually want to talk about a couple of companies all wrapped up in one because there's a few companies giving updates at the moment, and JB Hi-Fi was one of those.
Yes, it experienced strong sales growth in the March quarter. Sales are up 12%. In fact, boss Terry Smart had a really interesting take on rising interest rates and what it meant for his business. He said because mobile phones and computers are now so integral to modern life, they're no longer considered discretionary. So JB Hi-Fi is more like a consumer staple stock rather than a consumer discretionary stock. Interesting. Flight Centre came out, said the recovery in the travel market is well underway. The removal or easing of travel restrictions around the world had helped the group. It will become profitable again for the full year next year. Nine Entertainment and Seven West Media both upgraded their earnings outlooks. The TV ad market is really strong. In Nine's case, the group is also gaining share in the radio market. Seven West highlighted its digital business. All these stocks, JB Hi-Fi, Flight Centre, the media groups, are cyclical. They do better when the economy is on the rise. And that's exactly what's happening, which, of course, is why we're seeing higher interest rates.
All right, story number 5, Sean. An Airbnb is a fascinating company, and it's upgraded its revenue forecasts, saying there is plenty of demand for the Northern Hemisphere summer season.
Yes, I really love this story. Basically, Airbnb have come out and said demand this northern summer is above pre-COVID levels. That's international bookings, sorry. That demand is above pre-COVID levels. Domestic travel is also much stronger. Earlier this week, Expedia and Bookings Holdings, that's bookings.com, came out, said exactly the same. According to these big travel companies, this northern summer could be the busiest ever for travel and tourism in North America. Really exciting to think that we're beyond COVID.
Yeah, that certainly is a massive rebound for an industry that was hit pretty hard.
Yeah, it sure is.
All right, that's it. The top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Thursday, the 5th of May, 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast. And if 5 minutes isn't enough, if you want something a bit longer and a few interviews, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed on your podcast platform. While you're there, every Thursday, we release a lighter look at the world of business. It is once a week, every Thursday. It's called Safe Word by Fear and Greed. So make sure you search for that one too. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.